The first time we went on the air on WLNY TV was April the 9th of 2009, and our next guest was on that very first show. It's my dear friend, Jaci Clement, and she is with the Fair Media Council. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me back.
Good. There's a consistency of how 2009 was all the way up now to 2016, and that is that you are still helping people be the watchdog for media in our area.
I am.
Why did you decide to start the Fair Media Council?
Well, it was actually, I came into an organization that already existed, but its original mission had sort of meandered through time, which is to say, it kind of became outdated thanks to technology and changes in FCC regulations and things of that sort. So what we did with the Fair Media Council is try to make it as relevant as possible to the public. So we do tackle news issues. We look at the media landscape. We think it's very important that the public understand that it has a right to know. And when there are changes within media outlets, whether it's changes in programming and formats and hiring and firing, companies being taken over and sold, that impact has a trickle-down effect, and it impacts the information that you get on a daily basis. So we want people to become educated about that process, as well as give them opportunities to really get to know the media themselves and have an open dialogue, because that's what creates relevant stories. And that's really what people look for in the news.
And you want reporters to be fair to you as a person that's being interviewed. So a lot of times you also provide a little bit of media training for someone that owns a business so that they can say the right things but get their thoughts eloquently, you know, in that way. Then the onus is on the reporter to be a fair reporter.
Yes, it is. And actually we have, what we're seeing today is it's almost a 50-50 split, which is kind of interesting. Because a lot of nonprofits gravitate to us because they don't have the resources to hire a public relations company or to bring someone on staff. But we also find for-profit companies now sending us people that may be younger or new hires that they want trained, and they want to hit the ground running and network with the community. So that's kind of a twofold part of our mission. But it's also important for the public to understand the media is not there to promote your story.
Correct.
They're there to protect the public and what the public needs to know. So when you're talking to a reporter, it's not like talking to your neighbor. So you need to understand the process, you need to understand how to put a soundbite together, and you need to understand how to edit yourself so that you're actually saying what you think you're saying as opposed to what the reporter may be hearing, which is often two different things.
And a lot of times, too, in presidential elections, you know, there's a lot going on with that.
Yes.
Right. So, and I know you're up on that. You know, you're very savvy, media savvy, when it comes to all types of things in the media. From, like you said, whether it's the maybe a mom and pop business, or it's somebody that has a nonprofit, big or small, that's trying to get exposure.
Right.
Or whether it's, you know, a person in the newspaper that has a certain slant on things. You yourself, I think, as a consumer of content, has to be objective about the way the paper writes something, or the right. And so during the political season, it's kind of fun to watch because you can have one story that's got so many different angles, right?
That does make it fun, but it also makes it dangerous.
Okay.
Because we know the public doesn't really tend to spend a lot of time going to different news outlets for its news, which is really what it needs to do. What it tends to do is pick a favorite, or two, or maybe three. So from our perspective, what we say is, if you want to watch Fox News, that's fine, but don't only watch Fox News. Watch some CNN, watch some BBC, watch some PBS. You know, watch some news that's coming from out of the country, because we want you to get the look of what's happening inside the country from sources inside the country. We want you to get the look from outside the country of what they're perceiving happening within the country. And then make up your own mind about what's going on. But don't just read, you know, one column in a newspaper, because a column is a biased commentary. And don't just watch one news segment and say, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking, because they left out a lot of facts that you need to know.
Absolutely.
And that's what we try to do with the public, is to get them to understand that for their own good, they need to use media effectively.
And what about your awards that you run? You have all different workshops throughout the years, but there's always there's a couple of big events that you do during the year. Let's talk about them.
Well, the one that's coming up, you know, the most quickly right now would be the Folio Awards, which is on April 22nd. And this is the only program of its type in the country. Is what it does is it puts the power of the public back in the hands of the public, where it judges the media. And the stories that win awards at the Folio Awards are chosen by the public for being relevant to the community and really representative of what the community wants to see and hear in its news. So that's vitally important. But we also make it fun. So we bring out all the anchors from the television stations, and this year we will be honoring Ernie Anastos with the Lifetime Achievement Award because he has truly devoted his life to serving the public through the
Yes.
media.
Yeah, I would say that he's a reporter that you can like have a little bit of respect, a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
You know, he has a lot of integrity, and he's always looking for what's the overall good of the community.
Yes, and he also now is actually focusing on positive news.
Good.
Because he does believe, yes, that some of the good needs to be told out there, and it's a good thing.
It was funny when I started this brand, and people are like, "You're doing what?" I'm like, "I'm celebrating the essence of life." They're like, "You're doing what?" I'm like, "No, like I want to feature businesses and people and stories that are empowering, you know, because I do believe there needs to be a balance of
There
that.
does.
You
There
know,
does.
and sometimes if we're hearing too much about ISIS or all this other kind of stuff, it's just like it's depressing, and I think it
is.
has a negative effect on people. So at least if there's a little voice or a few voices that are saying, we're here, like Courtney Here's a Who, like just promoting the good, that it
Yes.
kind of helps balance things.
No, you definitely need that.
Yeah. So once again, making it kind of fair, like fair and equal balance of all kinds
Absolutely.
of stories. Well, thank you very much. How can people get more involved?
Well, we're always looking for businesses and nonprofits to join us
Okay.
so that they can not only learn more about the news, but also get into the news themselves by making those connections. We're actually now looking for more community leaders to join our board of directors. So we're looking for business or nonprofit leaders that are interested in doing the right thing for the community, because that's what we want, and we're looking for good people. So
also
that's the
great-
criteria.
I was going to say, it's also a great thing to be, you know, to sponsor things that you've done. I've gotten great coverage and exposure to all different types of people from all walks of life. It's really helped my business increase by, you know, sponsoring things. So I thank you
that's
for that
great to hear.
opportunity too. So I'll be sponsoring. So thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Happy journeys to you. Please check out the Fair Media Council, Jaci Clement. Once again, she was on my very first show. It's always a joy to have her back. Glad to have her here in 2016. Stay tuned for more on Live It Up.